Another week review, another podcast, The View from the Bottom, with your host, the Whingebag McTory boy. And what a week 9 it was! Back to winning ways for the Tory boys. Gotta love to see it. Love to see it. Um, we start off as always with a quick rundown of results against my predictions. So I predicted myself to beat Jim. Handily got that done. Thanks to Kenny Drake on Monday Night Football and Chris Olave just kicking the shit out of Jim. Yeah, I think that could have been a tight one. I haven't watched the game back yet, but sounds like it could have gone anyway. And luckily it went my way in terms of what actually happened on the night. Mike, so I picked Mike to win, gets himself 134 points, and obviously Matt decides to he finally pulled the trigger on a move I would never do, and dropped Lamar Jackson and played Justin Fields on the week he got 42 points. I think you can be pretty happy with that, mate. Yeah, that's really not too bad. Mike scored 134, but yeah, you can't help it if someone wants to score 164 against you. Damien picked you to win, got let down. Kyler Murray, piece of shit. Well, it's not solely on him now, is it? Yeah, just had an average week, really. Massively let down by DJ Moore, Jacoby Myers. Anyway, we'll get into that. Yeah, Damien lost. Mark managed to get his ducks in a row. I thought he was completely screwed, but Corderell decided to play, which made his decisions quite easy, as we'll see in the transactions review. And he decided to kick the crap out of Numbnuts for the sake of it. And this is a bit of a false score because it's 140 points, but 53 of it comes from Mixon, and then 20 of it comes from Corderell, and 17 from his kicker. It's like there's not. It's not an 140 point team, but it is an 140 point week. And Numbnuts can feel quite sad that he lost with 104 points. Just having a quick look, he would have beaten four other teams this week. Well, you know what? That's quite good scoring from across the league. Fair play. This is a good scoring though. What on earth happened here? Numbnuts, Skell and Connor. Connor scores 67 points. Skell goes into Monday Night Football needing 11 points from Duvernay and Taysom Hill, and he doesn't get it done. Absolutely outrageous. Oh, Skell. It's classic Skelton all over again. I still think you've got a great chance of making the playoffs, man. You just need a couple more wins and you're sorted. Yeah, and then the last one we've got is Kinch got himself took a loss to Nick, and again probably feel quite aggrieved because your score would have beaten 6 other teams this week. It's unfortunate, but these things happen. At least you weren't Mike who got third highest and lost the first highest. Yeah, made me go 2-4. So yeah, it's not ideal. We'll have a quick review of transactions, a quick review of the table, and then I have another Cinderella story to tell you all. So Ed listened to me in the pod, got rid of Hunter Renfro, who, just not really. It's just not good enough, really. Is it 3 catches? It's not great. DeAndre Carter had quite an okay week. It looks like. Got some nice targets. Trevor Lawrence brought in for Mark, and Mike Gesicki brought in. So you lost a couple of, I want to say, high value pieces for KC, but they had shit outings. So you really look like a hero there, except for the Mike Gesicki play. But fuck it, it's a tight end. Don't give a shit. Kinch keeps making great moves for next year, which is what you want to be doing when you're rebuilding. So yeah, he adds Rashad Bateman, gets rid of Damian Harris. Damian Harris is just, he's not doing anything for you this year. He was even inactive on Sunday, so yeah, no harm in getting rid of him. And you've got a lovely Rashad Bateman, who's going to be good for you next year if you decide to keep him. Numbnuts gets rid of Sony Michel after the false alarm, puts Darrell Henderson on his roster. It's a meh move. Kickers don't care. Tight ends, I say I don't care, but Dalton Schultz is out there. He's probably the prime target if you need a tight end this week. So people like Mark and possibly, I don't know. I haven't looked at people's rosters, but they might be aiming for him. Connor adds the Arizona Cardinals, drops the Rams. How did that work out? Yeah, 8.2. Not so bad, not so bad. The Rams, yeah, it's a bit of a nothing play, but, I don't mind it. You've got... you play the Rams next week. I don't know. Maybe we'll make some moves there. Paris Campbell added, Dawson Knox dropped. It's a bit of a nothing move. Paris Campbell, just bail out on Indianapolis if you have anyone there. Just get rid of him. So I want you all to keep an eye out for when the tantrum starts from Matt, okay? So he gets rid of Elijah Mitchell, which is a weird move considering he's about to return, but I know you got a lot of running backs. You add Tyler Higbee, who gooses for you. Nice little goose. Nice little goose. Rashad White added by Jim, dropping Paris Campbell. I like this move. It's one I was calling for. Yeah, I mean the snap share's not great, but the scoring is okay. And if Lenny goes down, or if you never know. Like, it's a guy I want on my roster. If you leave him out there, which I think you do drop him later, I'd probably make a bid and have him there because I have a real problem at the running back position. Where does the tantrum start? Oh, here it is. Matt Hall puts a player on the trade block. Devontae Adams. I'm a bit annoyed it doesn't give you the precise time that this happened, but I'm gonna guess it was probably around 6:45 p.m. on Sunday night when Matt's going, he's only had 2 targets, and he's fucking crying, I'm gonna lose, Mike's gonna beat me, the season's over. That's what you sound like, Matt, okay? Chucks him on the trade block. And then he goes on to score 31 fantasy points. Maybe it was just motivation. Maybe it was just the motivation he needed. Probably not. I like this ad. Russell Wilson, you clearly have a problem at QB, although maybe you don't need him anymore, given Justin Fields is a fucking beast. But yeah, Russell Wilson, get him on. Tyler Higbee's piece of shit. That's fine. And then Jim, I don't know. I don't know why you make this move. Rashad White is way higher value than Odell Beckham, no matter where he goes. Because even if Odell joins a team now, he's still got to pass medicals. He's still got to get on an actual roster on a team that wants him, and then he's got to work his way into snaps. So, what your best case scenario is if he's cleared by the end of this week, then he joins Green Bay next week. So you're looking, it's week 10 now. So he joins Green Bay and he might start week 11. He might be useful week 12, maybe. You get him for the last 3 weeks, but your season might be done by then, and maybe he saves you from the bake-off. But I don't back it myself. But if Green Bay did get him, which given their injuries, they probably should, that'd be pretty sweet for you. Oh look, more Matt Hall tantrums. Raheem Mostert gets chucked on the trade block, and then a couple of cuts and the report. None of that really important. So yeah, interesting little week in terms of transactions. Couple of moves, some hilarity from Matt Hall, fucking just crying so damn hard. Quick look at the standings, and I have a story for you for how our 3 and 6 teams might be able to make the playoffs. So at the bottom we have the inevitable disappointment at 2 and 7, 1,000 points against, the most points against. That's quite a lot, to be fair. Maybe he's been unlucky, but realistically, you got to do better. Just be better, man. 845 points for 2 and 7. I think the season might be done at this point. Start loading up, looking at guys to keep for next year. Winchbag Asset Management at 3 and 6, and How I Met Carve Your Mother with Jim at 3 and 6 as well. So Jim's actually got quite a lovely points for. If he gets the wins in, and you're looking at 4 from the next 5, potential is there to sneak into 6th place. It's been done before. Kinch, yeah, same thing. The points for is not terrible. You do need to this week helps. And you do need to make sure you're scoring above 100 and taking advantage when shithouses like me just drop drop a shit point for a game, or when Skell drops one or something like that. You want to be there waiting to pounce, keep the scoring high. Next we have Damien, who didn't get the win last week, this week just gone, but he's still in the hunt, very much so. 840 points 4 and 5 record. Also on 4 and 5 we have Righty Fish and All Barkley No Bite, so Matt and Mark there. Both have very, very healthy points fours. Very, very healthy points fours. So, yeah, I think here you're looking for 3 wins from the next 5. We'll cover you guys in the next episode, probably. But, yeah, these are the danger teams and the one you want to watch out for. I think we'll go into it when we review their rosters, but the one you got to worry about here is definitely Matt, especially if he the best thing you can do at this point, Matt, is just get rid of Lamar. Just take whatever you can get this week and just get rid of him, and just because he's a drag on your team, and I don't think that gets better this season with Rashad Bateman out and all the problems they're having there. But yeah, anyway. Then we have in the playoff positions, just scraping in at 5 and 4, we have Skell, myself, and Ed. Skell is on 900 points for this week, will not have helped. I'm on 950 and Ed's on about 960, so all quite healthy there. We really, really have to watch out for Matt behind on 1,050 points for. That is a hell of a lot. A hell of a lot. He's catching up with Nick with that amount. It would be really, really, really funny if he missed the playoffs with 1,050 points for, but I fully believe he'll get to 7 wins. So yeah, it's probably him in the driving seat for that final spot. At 6 and 3, pulling a little bit clear, very, very close to making it. We have Connor and Nick. So the difference between these teams, Connor 872 points for, Nick 1,086 points for. That's nearly a 200 point difference. So he's outscored you by like over 20 points a week nearly. That's pretty impressive. But yeah, I think it's Connor. You kind of have to worry with the way your team's playing at the minute. A lovely win against Skell to sneak yourself in there, but you've got to worry if things could fall apart very quickly for you again, and you could be pipped at the post by Matt for 6th spot again. That would be pretty devastating, I think. But you've got some alright players. I think you can get it done. We're not really going to review the top, unless you become in danger of losing it in the next couple of weeks. Probably not really going to review people up here if they keep winning. And then at the top of the pile, finally got pitched a loss it took Matt scoring 165 points, but Mike 120 points for 7 and 2 record. If you get one more win, you're pretty much guaranteed the playoffs. I think you're pretty much guaranteed them anyway with that points for. So yeah, excellent work. So we have a quick little review of our 3 and 6 teams and what are their paths to the playoffs. We have Jim and we have Kinch, both on 3 and 6. Jim's on 960 points for. Kinch is on 894. Jim's next 5 games are as follows. He's got Connor, Kinch, Mark, Matt Hall, and Ed. So he needs 4 wins from those 5, and he needs to keep pace scoring with probably Skell or probably Connor or Matt. He basically needs to keep pace scoring with the league. Doesn't need to go wild and have to outscore everyone. He just needs to keep scoring. I think in there, when you look at people's teams, if Connor pitches another 70-pointer, he's relying on DeAndre Swift up there, and yeah, the team's falling apart slowly around him. Kinch is a direct competitor. I think that will pretty much settle whether one of you is competing or not. Mark's team, once you take away the mix and 50 points, is pretty it's under 100 points if he just scores what he's been scoring the rest of the season. So yeah, well, thereabouts. So that's definitely beatable. Matt Hall, he'll have flipped between selling everything and wanting to win it all about 8 times by the time you play him there. So that's winnable. And then Ed as well. Ed has got quite a good team, to be fair. So yeah, it's. I think if you can put Connor away and you can put Kinch away, I think you're in the money. I think you're absolutely laughing. And on Kinch's side, his next games are Mark. Then he has Jim, obviously in that big matchup. Connor. So it's quite funny. You've got the three same opponents over those 3 weeks. I think as well when you look at like if you both manage to beat Mark, that puts him on 4-7. Um, or like possibly 4-8. So you could be knocking Mark out of the playoffs at that point. Yeah, it's interesting. And then Kinch has got myself and Numbnuts. So you've got an absolute dolly of a game at the end of the season, Kinch. You just need to find 3 wins between Mark, Jim, Connor, and myself. I wouldn't be surprised, Like this is the time of the season where Derrick Henry absolutely comes to life. Absolutely comes to life. And you've now got like so many pieces on your roster firing. If you can stream some better defenses and get some good luck with your kicker, like this is absolutely doable. Absolutely doable. So yeah, 3-6. It might look bad, but most of your games, apart from like none at the end of the season, your games are against people above you. So every win that you take from them makes their record worse and drags you close to the playoffs. Yeah, I think the problem with for me is Kinch's points for. I actually believe you can probably get the wins you need, but you're relying on making up that points for differential to get into that last place of the playoffs. Um, Whereas Jim, I think you've got a harder schedule. I think your schedule is slightly harder because you've got Matt's team, which is good, Ed's team, which is good, and yeah, I think it's like yeah, the match in 2 weeks' time, we'll be keeping an eye on that. I think that'll be a lot closer to a decider at that point. So yeah, that's our 3-6 teams. We'll review the 4-5 guys in the next episode. But now we'll just do a quick matchup breakdown. Okay, we'll go through the matchups real quickly, then we'll get to the waiver wire, the good stuff. So first of all, we have myself playing against Jim. I'm 5-4. Jim's 3-6. I scored 120 points to his 96 there. The win mostly powered by Kenny Drake on Monday Night Football. Got himself 24 carries, 93 yards. Not very efficient, but a couple of touchdowns is very nice. Dallas got it as well, pitching 20 points in. Yeah, and then the stack of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. It wasn't great, but it did just about enough to get me done. On Jim's side, a tough injury to Romeo Dobbs, Alvin Kamara disappointing, and Aaron Rodgers he's not the answer. He's just not the answer. Like doesn't make up for your good streaming of your defense and your kicker. Yeah, unfortunate loss, especially the Dobbs injuries. I think he was pretty key to what Aaron Rodgers was going to do. Yeah, so the tough one there for Jim. Next matchup is an absolute barn burner. We have Matt Hall versus Mike. Matt Hall's now 4-5. Mike moves to 7-2. 164 points by Matt to Mike's 134. Absolute barn burner. And the story here is Justin Fields, 42 points from your QB. Absolutely insane. 123 yards on the ground and ran in 3 touchdowns. Oh, sorry, throw 3 touchdowns. 178 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown. Absolutely insane. Completely. I don't know if that's going to be repeatable moving forward, but I did tell Skell last week that the Miami defense was a trap, and I don't know if it moved off. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Ken Walker looks legit. I think like you might not make the playoffs, Matt, but you can always masturbate yourself into a coma to Ken Walker highlights for the rest of the year. AJ Brown was fine. Mostert, it's a bit of a worry. Only 11 opportunities, 26 yards from it, and a touchdown. Not great. It's only going to get worse with Jeff Wilson on the scene, but maybe not every game will be a shootout. Who knows? Devontae Adams, great. Josh Palmer, great pickup, great play. Who did you play him over? Actually, Michael Pittman. Yeah, great choice taking him out. Gerald Everett at tight end, like 6 points from your tight end's fine. Devontae has a big powerhouse for you as well, and some good streaming. Mike, on the other hand, yeah, like 30 points from your defense, fucking amazing, absolutely amazing. New England were going to be one that I called out, and I saw you pick them up, and yeah, just great. Whoever's playing Indianapolis is my defensive pickup. Mahomes was good, Eckler was good, and then yeah, it's just a bit disappointment from some of your stars. Like Tyler Boyd just wasn't needed with what Mixon was doing, and Donta Foreman is clearly a mirage. He's not real. Um, yeah, but they couldn't overcome the good defensive streaming. 40 points from a QB is ridiculous. 34 points is not bad from Mahomes either, really. Absolute steal for a one there, some might say. Next up, we have Damien versus Ed. Damien scores 84 points. Ed scores 106. Ed moves 5-4. Damien's 4-5. This was a 4-4 matchup. It really helps Ed's chances to the playoffs. It really hurts Damien's. This is one he could have won or should have won, I think. Yeah, Etienne 25 points. Tyreek 23 points. And then really not much else happening on Ed's team. DeAndre Carter was quite nice. On the other side, we had a good stream of a kicker and a defense. It's quite even, actually. But DJ Moore has fell off a cliff. Baker Mayfield is back. The end times are coming. Run for your life. Run for the hills. Yeah, Josh Jacobs, so it ended up being quite a nice score fest between Jacksonville and Las Vegas. But yeah, I don't know. They're not very good. The Raiders. This is not great. D-Hop though, D-Hop and Kyler, it's an okay stack. You could have hoped for more against Seattle, but it's okay. I think for you, you really need DJ Moore to bounce back, and you need Kyler Murray to become elite, which I don't think there's any guarantee of, to be honest. Yeah, there's nothing happening on your bench, so that's fine. Next up, we have Numbnuts versus Mark. Yeah, the 53 points from Mixon. Like, a normal week from him is like 15, 16 points. So, yeah, just a normal week and Numbnuts is in with a chance of winning here. Poor guy. Absolutely fisted. 104 points to 137 from Mark. Mark moves to 4-5. Num moves to 2-7. Possibly nail in the coffin. Yeah, Geno Smith was okay. Mecole Hardman is apparently elite now. When did that happen? Yeah, and then you've got Suckup. A good streaming on both sides. Nick Folk, 17 points from a kicker. Fucking hell, man. The kickers are so dumb. But yeah, I kind of think Mark's team it was a great win and some good performances, good stream of a QB there. You'll have Dak Prescott back, you'll have CMC back. I think you probably need to make a move this week because I think you're mostly out of bye weeks now. Try and get a receiver to shore up this position because you're not, even if you do make the playoffs, you're not going to go far if you're relying on Allen Robinson and Isaiah McKenzie. Yeah, so you've got Amari back, you've got Kittle coming back, but shit, this is a dangerous team. Yeah, whatever way you look at it, this is a dangerous team. If Mark makes some moves, maybe packages up Patterson and Pollard for an elite running back, for an elite wide receiver, this could be very dangerous. Yeah, then we have Skelton versus Connor, the absolute fucking shit bowl. Connor scored 67, Skell scores 58. Skell moves to 5-4. Connor moves to 67. Oh, so 6-3. Skell, this was the chance. This was the opportunity. This was you going to 6 wins in the best season you've ever had in fantasy. Justin Herbert let you down. Aaron Jones. Everyone let you down except for Tyler Lockett. Old faithful Tyler Lockett. Tyreek Hill. Taysom Hill and Devin Duvernay needed 11 points and they only managed 2. Oh, the depression. On the other side, Jalen Hurts didn't have to do much against Houston. DeAndre Swift, quiet game. Very worried for him. But you get Zeke back next week and Chubb back as well. So, yeah, you can relegate him to the bench. Possibly look at trading someone who's looking at next year and see if you can get, see what you can get, draft picks or a better receiver or something like that. Chris Godwin, Devontae Smith, awful week. And then, I mean, T. Higgins, like 9.5 is fine. It's a good number of targets. Evan Engram, I mean, he's a tight end. I think I said roll the dice on him. Sorry about that. Skell, don't beat yourself up about not playing Michael Carter. Beat yourself up that you played Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's where you beat yourself up, mate. Yeah, but you've got some good pieces there. It's not all over yet. Chase Claypool's going to get involved in that Chicago offense, and yeah, Michael Carter looks like he's still getting carries, and weirdly the Jets are quite good now. So yeah, I believe, Skell. I believe you can make it. The last one is Kinch versus Nick. So we have Kinch scored 110 points. Nick scores 126 points, moves to 6-3, 9-0 in his head, or 8-1, or whatever it is. Kinch is down to 3-6. We've been through his path to the playoff, the potential path. But yeah, we've got Derrick Henry getting the 23 points. Big day for him, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Eno Benjamin was a bit of a disappointment, but when James Conner's going to play, that's always going to happen. Yeah, I mean, potentially be looking at Tyler Algier the rest of the way. Potentially, I mean, I don't think a trade's ever going to happen, but hey ho. Why have you got 2 kickers on your roster, man? Absolutely crazy. Anyway, yeah, I think you've got some good pieces here that could see you the rest of the way, though. So, like Christian Kirk, this isn't a mirage. Like he is when Trevor Lawrence is not being a shithouse, Christian Kirk is good. Darnell Mooney with Justin Fields again not being a shithouse is pretty good. And then Garrett Wilson as well, when Zach Wilson's not being a shithouse, is pretty good. And TJ Hawkinson, look at their stat line: 9 receptions for 70 yards. That is lovely. Absolutely lovely. You love to... Yeah, great. No, it's really good. But yeah, like I said, stream a better kicker and defense, and we might be in the money. On the other side, it's just so hard to get past this fucking powerhouse here. Cup, 20 points. Jefferson, 20 points. Kelsey, 15 points. It's just brutal. How are you supposed to compete against that? It's just so consistent as well. And it's okay. Samuel on his bench scoring another 15 points. Rondell Moore with 10 targets now. Oh dear. Our best hope to beat Nick is Joe fucking Schmurrow continues to be meh. And then he has a down week from Sanders and Gibson. Yeah, but no, it's an absolute solid roster. It's going to really be tough to try and beat him. Yeah, that's our matchups. We'll get into the waiver wire. All right, we'll have a quick go through the waiver wire, see who's available. I've had a quick go through everyone's teams and done some comparisons. First of all, QBs. So this is actually quite interesting. There's a lot of you out there that need a QB, and I don't think there's that much good. I don't think there's that many good QBs to pick from here. Some of you are going to be picking some awful plays, I think. So Nick has got Joe Burrow on a bye. Skell has got Herbert versus San Francisco, who are good against QBs. Similarly, Kinch has got Christian Kirk against Buffalo, who are good against QBs. Jim has got Rodgers against Dallas, who are good against QBs. And then Num and Ed have their QBs on bye weeks next week. So you might want to start planning for that now. In terms of pickups, guys I like, we have top of the list, Daniel Jones. I quite like Daniel Jones against Houston. I think that's probably okay to do. Yeah, Houston, they kind of shut down Justin Fields, but I think it'll be okay. I think this is another one where both teams are bad enough that it's probably going to be a shootout. And yeah, you're hoping Daniel Jones runs around a little bit, possibly gets a sneak in. I also like Andy Dalton at Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh's defense is not scary for QBs anymore. They get picked on in the secondary. I know they've had the bye week to rest, but have a look on their defense and see if anyone's come back from injury recently. But Andy Dalton could be okay. You've got Derek Carr against Indianapolis, which is fine. Marcus Mariota is a trap. Don't play him. Jared Goff against Chicago. That's also a trap. Don't play it. Kenny Pickett sucks. Jimmy Garoppolo might be okay versus the Chargers defense. My spicy pick, though, is the brisket, Jacoby Brissett. You just saw what Justin Fields did to Miami, so maybe we can see the same from the brisket. Yeah, you never know. Then at running back, so we have again a couple of people who might need to pick someone up now, and I don't think there's anyone that's actually going to contribute greatly immediately, but there are people that can fix future problems and could be good in the future. So, for example, Jim and Nick have two of their running backs on bye week in week 14, and Matt has two of his running backs on bye week next week. And they're both only really rolling with three running backs, except Nick, who's got loads, but his good running backs are out. So, guys that I think should be put on a roster. The one most likely to contribute some points to you like straight away. Well, there's two. There's Rashad White and Chuba. I think Rashad White will be good for about 6 or 7 points in terms of just the volume he gets. And Chuba, if he's playing on Thursday night, which it's entirely possible he won't be, but I think it's worth a little pickup to see what happens. Donta Foreman was a bit crap. So yeah, he might get some more play, but I think they should both be on a roster anyway. Just even if it's just to see what happens after this week. You're banking on Chuba getting the role to himself or getting the majority of the touches when he's back, and you're banking on for Rashad White, Leonard Fournette dying, which probably isn't going to happen. But if it does, he's in for a huge role, and that's the difference. That could be the difference when you're making the playoffs and not making the playoffs in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, if you've got the space, get him on your roster. Other ones I like, so Jaylen Warren, wherever he is, there he is. Jaylen Warren, he looks way better than Najee Harris when he plays. He's one who should really be on a roster. Then you've got Zach Moss. So Zach Moss was traded to Indianapolis from Vegas, from the Raiders. He wasn't playing last Sunday, held out by choice, but he should play this week with Deion Jackson. I can't remember his fucking name. The shit one who's not Jonathan Taylor. I think he took an injury, so Zach Moss might get thrust into a starting role, as I don't think they'll bother playing JT anymore. You've also got Madison, so Alexander Madison, who should be on a roster somewhere, wherever he is. Yeah, he's up there. He also gets a bit of play, but it's not loads. And then the other one is Elijah Mitchell, wherever he is. So Matt dropped him last week. Elijah Mitchell, there we go. And he's going to return from IR soon. And yeah, they got CMC in, but you can see like that role kind of. I don't think they use CMC that much if they're planning on making a playoff run. I think that was the showcase of this is what CMC can do, and I think if Elijah Mitchell comes back, it'll be a bit more of a we'll be like a 1A 1B type situation. Yeah, he's at least worth hanging on to because again, Christian McCaffrey is notoriously able to stay healthy the entire time. So next up we go wide receiver. So I think wide receiver wise, it's hard to track when you've got 3 wide receiver slots, but if you need an upgrade. I might do a more in-depth look next week when I look through the matchups and say maybe you should get this guy. But guys, I think should be on a roster. Michael Gallup. I think he should be on a roster. Purely because of the snap percentage with targets throughout the Detroit game, so that's fucking weird. But yeah, and then Green Bay are there for the taking. I think he definitely, if you're struggling at receiver or going to be struggling at receiver, you should have him stashed as a guy you can slot into your roster. He's better than like the Zay Joneses and the guys who you kind of get forced into starting. MVS is a trap. Don't trust that at all. Don't bother. Donovan's Peoples-Jones coming back against Miami. I love the matchup this week. So if I'm thinking for this week, I'd probably play DPJ over Gallup. But long term, I think Gallup will be better. Then you've also got, after that, you're really looking at guys like Khalif Raymond, who had a shit week. Yeah, it's really, really tough. The only guy I potentially have my eye on, I think, like as much as I ribbed Jim earlier for his pickup of what's his face, Odell Beckham. It was a nice pickup because it's kind of a wasteland out there. It's really struggling and hoping that someone comes through. I think it's going to be hard to know who is coming through until they have already ascended. But the only one I kind of want to keep my eye on is Sammy Watkins, and I think this is kind of forced in Green Bay because Lazard and Doob's both taking knocks, and Watson can't stay healthy, so he took another bloody concussion. So yeah, it's real tough. I kind of hope, um, yeah, if you need someone beyond those like 2 guys, 3 guys I mentioned, you're going to be in a real spot of bother. So hopefully we've all got good depth out there. If not, I would recommend trading. So tight ends. A couple of people kind of need tight ends. Jim again makes the list. So Jim, you've got Njoku, who's coming off an injury. And then Damien, you've also got Darren Waller. When your other tight end is on a bye, I can't remember who it is, but Darren Waller is your guy coming back. I don't think he'll play because Darren Waller's a piece of shit. So that's a bit harsh, but it's how I feel. Dalton Schultz here is quite a high value pickup. Dallas look like they are pretty good. So yeah, I would have Dalton Schultz. Then I would choose Tyler Higbee. And I know he threw a goose last week, but Arizona are like the worst against tight ends. So I would just keep rolling the dice and hopefully you don't come up snake eyes. Yeah, I think Tyler Higbee is a good play. Cole Kmet, it's kind of chasing the points, but they were good points for him last week. I think he got 2 touchdowns or something. Yeah, he got 2 touchdowns. He's not going to do that every week, but good number of targets, and he's always on the field as well. So if you take away his 2 touchdowns, he's still got 5 catches, 41 yards, which for us is like 6.5 points, which is respectable for our tight ends. And yeah, with Justin Fields, he looking good. He's in with a shout of scoring a touchdown, especially like against Detroit. That could be a shootout. Detroit defense, they sold out to try and lose. So yeah. Last one to talk about is Cade Otton. So you'll see Cameron Brate. I think he took an injury in week 9. Or he was just out week 9, but I don't know if he'll be back in week 10. You've got Cade Otton, who, again, if Cameron Brate is out, slip him in. Same with Foster Moreau. If what's his face, Darren Waller's out as well, he can be put in. Other than that, you're really just rolling the dice and hoping for a touchdown. Yeah. Last ones to look at is defensives. So Damien, you've got the Ravens defense are on a bye week. Yeah, I think there's a few people who could potentially upgrade as well. So one I noticed was Skell with Miami. I know they got the pick 6 last week, but you take that away, they had a really bad day. Yeah, people that you can target here. There's a good targets here as well. So you've got Vegas against Indianapolis. They are going to be putting Ellinger out there again. And Ellinger is really fucking bad. Okay. Next up, we have New York, the Giants against Houston. Houston are bad at football. New York are also bad at football, but Houston are extra bad at football. New Orleans against Pittsburgh. I would be fine doing that. Atlanta Falcons against Carolina. It might be the return of fucking Sam Darnold. All right, that's prime territory to attack. But the one I quite like is Tennessee versus Denver. So I think you'll get Russell Wilson back, and you're kind of hoping they've put it together. I don't think they would have done. I think they'll be just as bad as they've been so far. I don't think the bye week fixes their problems of just being shithouses. So yeah, I would like, in terms of ranking, I would probably go Vegas. If you're, I'm considering putting a bid in, and I'm sat on the Buffalo defense. All right, I'd then go to the Giants, and then I would probably go to Tennessee, and then either of these two. You could roll the dice with the Rams against Arizona, but I don't know. It's kind of risky. Yeah, so that's the defenses to look at. That's the review of the waiver wire. Hopefully you find someone and what you need. We will review all the matchups going into week 10. Peace.